Welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex and welcome to Eurospec Garage. What we have in the garage today is an Audi A3 8P 2010 Quattro. And what we're going to do to it today is actually fix these very faded and oxidized headlights. It should be a very rewarding video. I hope you guys enjoy it. But in this video I'm going to talk about step by step what it takes to restore these things. And just as a disclaimer, I've seen a lot of videos on how you can use toothpaste and baking soda and a lemon and a bunch of other home remedies. The fact of the matter is those might make it look a little bit better, but the reality is you really have to take off material. You actually have to sand down this plastic to get rid of this oxidized layer. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. And it's absolutely DIY friendly. You could do it by hand or with a drill. Makes it go a lot faster. But otherwise it's simple to do, something you can do in your garage, something you can do in your driveway and even outside. So let's get to it. I'll show you guys what we're gonna use. All right guys, so as I mentioned, the tools we're gonna use, we're gonna need a drill. Again, you don't need a drill, you could do it by hand, but the most important thing you need is this 3M headlight restoration system. And what this includes: some sandpaper, sanding discs, polishing compound, and I believe even masking tape, or maybe not masking tape. So yeah, this is the kit we're gonna use. There's different grades of sanding paper here to get rid of a lot of the oxidation. And then as we kind of get closer and closer to finishing up, the sandpaper gets finer and finer, and then finally we will wrap it up with a polish. And again, using the power drill. So some prerequisites for this include: get yourself a little spray bottle for water, and also some masking tape. And the reason we need masking tape is we don't want to accidentally sand the bumper, the hood, or anything like that. But you don't need to take out the headlights for this, and it should go pretty quick. So I'm gonna put you guys up on time lapse and stop along the way to explain the first step that we're gonna do. But once again, it's very easy to do by yourself. So stick around and I'll show you the before and after. Alright guys, so first step, and actually this is what comes in the kit, is a bunch of instructions, but if you guys get the kit, you will see what it says in here, but I'll explain to you guys what is needed, and then if you want to get the kit, you want all the details, feel free to get the kit. But let's begin. So the first step is we want to really clean off the surface, one, for any kind of loose junk that might be on it, but two, so that our masking tape line can adhere nicely. And so the first step we're going to do is we're going to take a rag and some water. Go down a little bit. Yeah. We're going to take a rag and some water. We're going to spray the rag and just really soak the rag with some water. And we'll use that as our kind of scrubber. And we'll take some soap and just apply it on there. Really kind of just want to lather it up and really disinfect the headlight there. Just make it nice and clean. And so while he's doing that, we're going to prepare the masking tape, and the masking tape is literally going to go all around the headlight because we want to protect the paintwork, the bumper, and everything else from sandpaper. So that is a huge part of what we're doing right now. Alright guys, so now that the headlight area is prepared, we're going to take some masking tape. I had this laying around, very easy to find at any store, any Walmart or anything like that. And one thing I really want to do is I want to protect especially these areas, because our sandpaper is going to go and it's going to start hitting the bumper. So we really want to protect the bumper and the paintwork there. And so we're going to go all the way around the headlight and just tape it up. And more tape is better in this case. And again, just be mindful that this is sacrificial tape. It is to protect the paintwork, because you really don't want, especially if you have a lighter colored car and the bumper is black underneath, you really don't want to burn through that paint in this process. And actually, guys, I'm gonna go through a second time. And the masking doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as you are protecting all of the areas that we want to protect. I didn't put any masking tape up here because I don't intend the sandpaper to make its way up to the very kind of top horizontal surface, so that should be good. But we are now protected from the edges when we go through with the sandpaper on the drill. We're basically ready to begin sanding and removing all of this material, but the first step in the kit calls for 500 grit disc. You can see on the very back of the disc it says 500. That is the most coarse that the kit wants you to go, but I actually want to take it a little bit of a step further because we can see just how oxidated this is. I'm going to take a used 220 grit pad and by hand go ahead and remove a lot of this material just to make the 500 grit disc last longer. There's a finite amount of them, I believe 6 of them in here, so we really want to try to make the most use out of all of these. And so as a result, I'm going to start with 220 grit, just go by hand and remove as much of that junk as I can. So as you can see, my sanding pad is already turning white. And what all of that is all of the oxidized stuff on this headlight lens. So that means you're doing a good job. And another reason that I'm starting with this 220 grit is because these headlights, they come with a protective coating on them that's actually very hard to sand off. And so by using the 220 grit, I'm actually removing that protective coating, or at least what's left of it, and basically making the plastic exposed so that that 500 first step disc is really going to be able to do its work quickly. So what we're looking for, guys, when we stop is when the headlight is sanded uniformly. You don't see any blotches of yellow or anything like that. So we're essentially looking, obviously it's scratched up and it's sanded, but you don't want to see any blotches of protectant or anything like that. You want it to be nice and uniform. And you also want it to be white, or at least white-ish looking. So if you take a look at my pad here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's a little bit yellow. And that's actually what the yellowness was that we're actually removing. And so I'd say we're pretty much ready for the next step here. As it is right now, I don't see any major changes in the way the headlight looks. I don't see any blotches or spots of yellow or clear spots or anything like that. I would say we're pretty much ready to move on to the next step. So guys, if you look down here, you notice all of this white powder. It's not an illegal drug. It's actually all of the dirt and exhaust fumes, oil, and stuff like that that has absorbed itself into the plastic of the headlight. So take a close look at that. That is all of the stuff that we're removing, and also toothpaste won't remove it. So that's why this is important to do. All right, guys, so now that we've used the 220 grit, you can tell the headlight is obviously sanded, but not yellow anymore. You don't have that yellow hue coming from it. And again, we use the 220 pad, which is not included in the kit, but we just took that extra step to really get all of that junk out so that when we do use the 3M kit, we're actually making the most out of it. So that being said, let's move on to step 1. And step 1 is to use a 500 grit disc. We're going to attach it to our drill attachment, which is included in the kit. Actually, they do sell hand kits, like without these drill attachments. They just take much longer. They do have this kind of Velcro sticky back on them. So this is actually what we're going to use. So I'm going to very carefully and centrally apply this disc, just like that. And this end is going to go into our drill. Just like that. And so we're ready to go. So a couple tips of doing this is make sure you're not putting a lot of pressure onto one particular area, and make sure you're not staying in one particular area. The reason for this is when you stay in one particular area, the sandpaper actually heats up that area and begins to melt the plastic. And so you want to uniformly move back and forth. But really what you're looking for, if you look really close, you can see those 220 scratch marks. So in this step, what we're doing is we're going to be removing all of those 220 scratch marks and moving on to the next step. So that is the objective. So let's do it. Alright guys, so now we can see a lot of the junk is coming from the headlight onto the pad. We periodically want to just hit it and get all of that junk off. The reason for that is, once again, if you look very closely, you can see some spots of white, and that's just heated up material that's going to stick and eventually cake onto here. So we periodically want to stop, we want to clean it off. Use a rag, and you can tell we're back to almost new. And then periodically just cleaning off the surface and evaluating our work and continuing. But once again, guys, I'm using medium pressure, not going very fast at all, just taking my time. I don't want to burn through the plastic. Alright guys, so the headlight should look something like this. If you zoom in really close, you can see that all of the scratches are rotary scratches, which means that we got all of the 220 scratches out. So what that means is the next step is to move on to the 800 grit. It looks like a white disc just like this, and we're continuing with the dry sanding. We're not onto the wet sanding yet. But same exact concept, we're going to go through and remove all of these 500 swirl marks with this guy. So as usual, make sure you have your hygiene. You're stopping periodically, cleaning off the pad, and continuing on. You can see we have a lot of residue coming out, and it's all white, which means that the headlight is going to be clear and not yellowed. And it's already looking much better. You can actually start to begin to see some more clarity coming through. So what I'm going to do is, this sanding pad is still good, but just to be sure, I'm going to switch to the other one, to a new one, and really finish off this side. And in the kit there are 4 of these 800 grits, so 2 per side. I'm just going to go through another round or 2 and really just finish it off. So that is what the end of the 800 grit looks like. You can tell maybe that it's a little bit more clear. One thing that I couldn't get was this very corner, so what I'm going to do is one of the used pads that I had, I'll just go in there by hand and lightly scuff it up. But otherwise, we're making some good progress. It's looking really good. Now that we have the 800 grit done, the headlight is already beginning to look a little bit better. Now it is time to move on to the 3000 grit wet sand disc. And essentially what that's going to do is it's going to remove all of these 800 grit marks. And just like before, we're going to attach this onto our drill. And if you take a close look, this is very fine. You could barely feel it. But this is really what's going to begin to eliminate all of those tiny scratches, and we're going to start to begin to see some good shine out of it. And so the way you do this, you just spray and soak the whole headlight. And we're going to do the same thing for our pad. And do the same thing we've been doing. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll start to see some of that shine come back. And as you can see, when I'm applying water, the water is filling in all of those little scratches, and it's looking a lot more clear. Take a look, guys. One pass, and it's already looking even better than it did before we even started. I mean, take a look. It's awesome. And just like normal, make sure you use plenty of water, clean out your pad as often. Alright guys, and check it out. We're almost there. I mean, you take a look and it's basically there. The last thing I'm going to do is just by hand hit this corner, and just like that, just going to get in there and very lightly go in there and touch up that section. You can barely even tell that this is sandpaper because it's so fine, but it's really doing a great job. Alright guys, well, we're done with the 3000 grit. If you look real close, you can see some very fine scratches. It looks clear, but it's not quite 100%. And that's what this final step is to get it to 100%. So in the kit comes this rubbing compound and this drill attachment. It says to apply a dime-sized piece onto this polishing pad, onto the drill once again. So we're going to do the same thing, and this time all of those micro scratches should go away. But even if we left it at this, I mean, it looks already so much better. So I'm just going to open it up like this, and I'm going to apply some rubbing compound. It says a dime-sized piece, but this pad is dry, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to pat it all across the headlight, kind of spread it around, and then go nice and slow just to rub all of this rubbing compound into the headlight, and then we'll go faster. So nice and slow. We really want to get it in to the material. And now that it's in, we're going to go a little faster. Well, can you see it? It looks fantastic. So this is the final step, the rubbing compound, and it literally took off the rest of the scratches. I'm going to take a clean rag and wipe it down, and then maybe do some touch-ups with my hand, especially here in this little corner, but it looks almost brand new. I mean, you can tell this headlight has some age. If you look right here, maybe you guys can't see it on camera, but a little bit of frizz, but all of the oxidation is gone. The headlight is very clear. Let's wipe it down and it's gonna look even better. That's great. Yeah. Guys, check that out. That looks freaking amazing. Wow. So, right now, we're going to take the masking tape off and then do one final step of clear coat, or we're going to do one final step of ceramic coat to really protect these headlights. Because in the kit, they used to sell a protectant, but they don't anymore. So we're going to protect it ourselves with some ceramic coating. But guys, it looks freaking awesome. So I'm going to pan out for you guys after we're done with both sides, and you guys will see the difference. Not only does this look better, but it actually is also safer because more of your headlight can be shown onto the road in front. So really, really awesome, guys. Let me know what you think about this. But in my opinion, this is the only true way of restoring your headlights. All the other stuff is just fluff. You might as well go do it properly the first time and just get it over with. Alright guys, so the final step, we got to protect these headlights. So remember, we took off a bunch of material. Even though we polished it out, the pores of the plastic is still exposed. So if we don't do anything to protect it now, the speed at which the headlights will turn yellow again is going to be pretty fast. Not sure how fast, maybe a couple of years, but still, we want to do our best and protect our work. Now the headlights look so nice. I have some of this Avalon King armor shield left over. I'm not sponsored by these people, and to be honest, it's not my favorite ceramic coating. It wears off pretty quickly, despite what all the YouTubers say, but it does last, and it's really good for headlights. I've used it on headlights, and it works really well. It has the hydrophobic properties, so the water will just bead right off of them, but most importantly, it has the UV protection property on them. And so this is what the kit looks like. Inside, that is the ceramic coating. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this applicator pad and we're going to apply one of these provided little cloths. And what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. Yeah, there's still some left in there, and then you got to pop it open like this. And then we're just going to apply it onto here. And it has a very potent smell to it. But then you literally just take it, and we're going to apply it back and forth onto the headlight. We're going to wait a couple minutes for it to flash. In the meantime, I'm going to go and do the other side real quick. Alright, and now when you start to see rainbows, you go back through and you just wipe it off. And give it that final nice polish look. And what this is going to do is it's going to protect the plastic from the sun and from everything else, and keep the headlights looking good for longer. Just like that. And guys, with that, we are done. So I'm going to show you guys how these headlights look outside and on, everything else, but I really hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a blast to do. It's not very quick, but the results speak for themselves. So thanks as always, and drop a like, and let me know if you guys have done something like this, have had success, or if you have any questions about this. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I hope you guys did too. I'll catch you next time.
Do you want to dance?